Introduction. My name is Sandy Miller, and I am 28 years old. My story begins with a happy memory. It begins with the day I met Rick. I was 22 years old, and it was a sunny afternoon in a small coffee shop. He was sitting alone, reading a book. When he looked up, he smiled at me. It was a kind and warm smile. Later, he came to my table, and we started to talk. He was funny and smart. When he spoke to me, it felt like we were the only two people in the room. From the very first day, he made me feel special and important. I felt like the only woman in the world. Our love story moved very quickly. We went on many dates. We walked in the park. We watched old movies, and we talked for hours about our dreams for the future. He always listened to me and remembered the small things I said. It was very easy to fall in love with him. After only 6 months, he asked me to marry him. I said yes immediately. We got married in a small, beautiful church. Our family and close friends were there. We did not have a lot of money, but we had a lot of love. We dreamed of a happy life together in a small house with a garden. We promised to love each other forever. Our life felt like a perfect story. 1 year after our wedding, our son, Ethan, was born. Holding him for the first time was the happiest moment of my life. Rick was so happy too. He held Ethan and looked at him with so much love in his eyes. Our little family felt complete. I decided to stop my job and become a full-time mother. I loved taking care of Ethan and our home. Rick worked hard at his job to support us. When he came home from work, he always kissed me and played with Ethan. Our house was filled with laughter. He often told me, "You and Ethan are my whole world, Sandy." I believed him. I thought our perfect life would never change. But things can change slowly when you do not expect it. The change was not one big event. It was many small things. Rick started to seem different. He was quieter. He still came home, but his smile was not the same. Sometimes he looked tired, but it felt like more than just being tired from work. He seemed far away, even when he was sitting next to me. I tried not to worry. I told myself that work was stressful, but a small, cold feeling started to grow in my heart. This was the beginning of the distance between us. Our perfect story was starting to have a new, sad chapter. 2. A change at home. The change was slow at first, like a quiet shadow entering our home. Rick started to come home late from his job. Before, he always came home at 6 o'clock. We ate dinner together every single night. He told me about his day, and I told him about Ethan. Now, he came home at 8 or 9 or sometimes even later. I always made a nice dinner for him, but it was often cold on the table when he arrived. I usually ate alone after I put our sweet son, Ethan, to bed. The house was so quiet. I waited for the sound of his car, but when he finally came home, the house still felt empty and cold. He was a different person. He did not smile at me when he walked through the door. He did not give me a hug or ask about my day with the baby. He just put his bag down and went to sit on the sofa. He looked at his phone or watched television. His eyes never met mine. I missed the way he used to look at me. His eyes were once full of so much love for me. Now they were just tired and distant. He stopped holding my hand when we watched a movie. He stopped telling me I was beautiful. It felt like a high glass wall was growing between us, and I did not know how to break it. I tried to talk to him many times. I needed to understand what was happening. "Rick, is everything okay at work?" I asked one night. He did not look up from his phone. "I'm fine, Sandy, just tired," he said in a flat voice. Another time I said, "We don't talk anymore, I miss you." He sighed and said, "I am very busy at work. I don't want to talk when I get home." His words were short and cold. He did not want to share his life with me. He did not want to fix our problems. It was easier for him to say he was busy and push me away. Every day was the same long day. I spent my hours with Ethan. He was a happy baby, and I loved being his mother more than anything. But at night, when Ethan was asleep in his little bed, I felt so alone. I sat in the quiet living room and thought about our old life. I missed the man I married. I missed our easy conversations and our shared laughter. I had a strong, painful feeling in my heart. I knew something was very wrong. This was not just stress from his job. A secret was living in our house. But he would not tell me the truth, and I was too afraid to ask the wrong question. 3. The hard truth. One quiet evening, after I put Ethan to bed, Rick went to take a shower. I was tidying the living room when his phone lit up on the table. A message appeared on the screen. I did not usually look at his phone, but I saw a name I did not know, Claire. My heart started to beat very fast. I knew I should not, but I picked up the phone. My hands were shaking as I read the full message. It said, "Last night was amazing. I can't stop thinking about you." In that moment, it felt like the world stopped. The words were simple, but they broke my heart into many tiny pieces. I felt a deep pain inside my chest. I quickly put the phone back down, exactly where it was before. I sat on the sofa, but I could not think. I just listened to the sound of the water from the shower. It was the only sound in the room, but my mind was so loud. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run to the bathroom and ask him why. Who was this woman? Why was he doing this to me, to our family? But I did nothing. A terrible fear stopped me. I was afraid of his answer. If I asked him, he might leave. The idea of being alone with Ethan was too scary. So I stayed silent. When he came out of the bathroom, I pretended to be calm. I did not look at him. I did not say a word about Claire or her message. The next few days were very difficult. I lived with this secret inside me, and it felt very heavy. Then, one afternoon, I had to go to a shop near Rick's office. As I was walking, I saw him. He was standing with a woman outside a small cafe. They were laughing together. He looked at her with the same love he once had for me. My whole body felt cold. I knew it was Claire. My worst fear was real. My world was falling apart, but I looked at my beautiful son. I knew I had to be strong for him. He needed his mother, now more than ever. 4. A stranger in my house. It was our 5th wedding anniversary. I woke up with a little hope. Maybe today he would remember us. I made his favorite breakfast, but he ate quickly and did not say anything special. He just said he had a busy day at work. He did not kiss me goodbye. I waited all day for a call, but my phone was silent. When he came home late, he walked past me and went to the bedroom. He completely forgot. That night, I cried alone in our bed. A few weeks later, it was my birthday. My family remembered, but Rick did not. He came home from work and asked about dinner. He never said happy birthday. He was also not interested in our son. When Ethan took his first steps, I was so excited. I called Rick to tell him the news. He only said, "Oh, that's nice," and quickly changed the subject. He did not seem to care about these important moments in our life together. Our house did not feel like a home anymore. It was a cold, quiet place. Rick spent his evenings alone. He never asked about my day or about Ethan. If I tried to sit near him on the sofa, he would get up and leave the room. It was clear he did not want to be near me. I felt lonely and invisible. The kind man I married was gone. In his place was a cold person I did not know. He was a stranger in my house. One evening, I decided I could not live in this silence. The sadness was too much. I waited for him in the living room. "Rick, can we please talk?" I asked. My voice was small and shaking. He looked at me without any emotion. I started to cry. "Please try to remember us," I said. "Remember our wedding day and when Ethan was born, we were so happy. What happened to our love?" I looked at him, hoping to see the man I once knew. He stood there and looked at me with cold eyes. He did not move. He did not try to comfort me. After a long silence, he finally spoke. His voice was flat and had no feeling. "I don't feel the same anymore." That was all he said. He did not say he was sorry. He just turned and walked out of the room. He left me alone on the sofa. In that moment, I understood. The man I loved was gone, and he was never coming back. 5, the last night. The night was very dark and quiet. I put Ethan to bed at 8 o'clock. Then I sat on the sofa and waited for Rick. The clock on the wall made a soft sound. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. He was not home. I called his phone, but he did not answer. I knew where he was. He was with her. He was with Claire. This was not the first time he was late, but this night felt different. It felt final. The hours passed slowly. 11 o'clock, then midnight. My hope was gone. He was not coming home tonight. I went to Ethan's room and watched him sleep. He looked so small and peaceful. I picked him up carefully. I did not want to wake him. I held him close in my arms and went back to the living room. I sat in the dark and cried. The tears were quiet. I did not want to make a sound. I felt so empty and so hopeless. This house was not a home anymore. It was just a place of pain and sad memories. I looked at my son's face in the soft light from the street. He was my reason to live. I could not let him grow up in this sad house. I could not let him see his mother cry every day. A new feeling started to grow inside me. It was not sadness. It was strength. I knew what I had to do. I could not wait for Rick to change. I could not live in this pain any longer. I had to leave. I had to protect myself, and I had to protect my son. The decision was hard, but it was clear. The next morning, the sun came up. I did not sleep at all. I was very tired, but my mind was made up. I put Ethan back in his bed. Then I found 2 large bags. I went to my room and packed my clothes. I did not take everything. I only took what I needed. I packed Ethan's clothes, his small shoes, and his favorite teddy bear. I saw a picture of Rick and me on our wedding day. We looked so happy. I left the picture on the table. That life was over. When the bags were full, I carried them to the car. Then I went back for Ethan. He was still sleeping. I carried him outside and put him safely in his car seat. I took one last look at the house. It was the place where my dreams died. I did not feel sad anymore. I felt ready. I got into the car and started the engine. I drove away and did not look back. It was the first day of my new life. 6. A new life. I walked away from my old life with only 2 bags and my son. My sister, Sarah, opened her door and her arms to us. The first few days at her house were very hard. I cried a lot when Ethan was sleeping. I felt empty and lost. Sarah was very kind. She made me tea and just sat with me. She never asked too many questions. She just said, "You are safe here, Sandy. You and Ethan are home." After about a week, I knew I needed to do something. I could not stay in bed and feel sad forever. Ethan needed his mother. He was my reason to be strong. I started to look for a job. It was difficult because I did not work for a few years. I was a full-time mother. I looked in the local newspaper every day. I walked to different shops and asked if they needed help. Many people said no, but I did not stop. One afternoon, I saw a sign in the window of a small bookshop. They needed a part-time helper. I went inside and talked to the owner, an old woman with a kind smile. She gave me the job. It was not a lot of money, but it was a start. It was my job. Working in the bookshop changed everything. I had a reason to get out of the house. I talked to people. I liked helping them find books. Every day, I felt a little stronger. I started to smile again, a real smile. After work, I picked up Ethan from my sisters. We played in the park or read books together. He was so happy. Seeing his smile made my heart feel full. Months passed. The sad feelings became smaller. I felt a new kind of peace. It was quiet and calm. I was not waiting for a husband who did not come home. I was not crying alone in the dark. I was building a life for myself and my son. Sometimes my phone rang. I saw Rick's name on the screen. The first time my hand shook, but I did not answer. He called again and again. I ignored every call. He made his choice a long time ago. Now I was making my choice. I was choosing me. I was choosing my new, free life with Ethan. I was finally finding myself again. 7. He remembers. It was a quiet Tuesday evening. Rain hit the window of my sister's house. I was reading a book on the sofa. Ethan was sleeping in his small bed in the next room. For the first time in many months, I felt calm. I felt safe. My new life was simple, but it was mine. Then I heard a knock on the door. It was late, after 9 o'clock. My sister was out with her friends. I was not expecting anyone. My heart started to beat a little faster. I walked to the door and looked through the small hole. I could not believe what I saw. It was Rick. I opened the door slowly. He stood in the rain. His hair was wet and his clothes were dark with water. He looked so different. He was not the confident man I knew. He looked tired and very sad. His eyes were red, like he was crying for a long time. He just looked at me for a moment. He did not say anything. "What are you doing here, Rick?" I asked. My voice was quiet. "Sandy," he started. His voice was weak. "Can I please talk to you for 1 minute?" He did not wait for my answer. He started to speak very fast. "Claire left me," he said. "She is gone. She said she did not want a man with a family. She said it was all a mistake." He looked down at his shoes. She was right. It was a mistake, a terrible mistake, my mistake. He looked up at me again. There were tears in his eyes. "I was so stupid, Sandy. I had everything. I had you and Ethan. I had a family. And I threw it all away. I forgot what was important. I forgot you. I forgot everything we had." Hearing his words hurt my heart. A part of me felt sorry for him. He looked so lost and broken. I remembered the man I fell in love with a long time ago. But then I remembered the pain. I remembered the lonely nights. I remembered finding his message from Claire. I remembered how he forgot my birthday. He did not just forget me. He chose to leave. I took a deep breath. I had to be strong for myself and for my son. "I'm sorry that happened to you, Rick," I said, and my voice was steady. "But you can't come back. You hurt us too much. I have a new life now, a good life. Ethan is happy here. He is safe. I am safe. I will not let you hurt us again." He looked at me, and I think he finally understood. Our story was over. I slowly closed the door, leaving him alone in the rain. My heart was heavy, but I knew I made the right choice. 8, my story. A year passed, and then another. Time is a good friend when your heart is broken. It moves slowly at first, but then it helps you heal. Day by day, the sadness became smaller. I started to smile again, a real smile. I did this for Ethan, but I also did this for me. Our new life was quiet and simple, and I loved it. We had a small, sunny apartment. It was our safe place, full of our own things and happy memories. Our life was full of small, happy moments. We spent many afternoons at the park. Ethan loved to run on the grass, and I loved to watch him. He would chase butterflies, and his laughter was like music. In the evenings, after I came home from my job at the library, we would cook dinner together. He was not a big help, but it was fun. Then, we would sit on our comfortable sofa and read books until he fell asleep. I felt a peace that I did not feel for many years. I was not just a forgotten wife anymore. I was Sandy. I was a mother, and I was happy. Rick visited Ethan on some weekends. At first, it was strange to see him at our door. It brought back memories of the pain, but I knew it was important for our son. Our conversations were always short and only about Ethan. Rick was polite, and so was I. He saw that I was different. I was stronger. He understood that our romantic story was truly over. He was a part of Ethan's life, but he was not a part of mine anymore. He was a visitor in the happy home we built. This difficult time was a hard lesson, but a good one. I learned that I am much stronger than I ever thought. I learned that my happiness comes from inside me, not from another person. True love should make you feel good about yourself, not forgotten. When Rick left, I felt lost, but his actions forced me to find my own way. I had to remember who I was. I am a good person and I deserve to be happy. Today, my life is full. It is not the life I dreamed of when I was young, but it is a good life. It is real and it is mine. I look at my wonderful son and I know we will be okay. This is my story. It is not about how a man forgot me. It is about how I learned to remember myself.